All right, this is gonna be a fucking weird video, but hear me out until the end. For most of the time that I've been a hiker and most of the time that I've spent hiking, I've always hated winter hiking. People would make it sound like it was like the best thing in the world. Like, oh my God, the white snow is so beautiful. Oh my God, there's less people on the trail. It's so much fun. And I was just like, no, winter hiking can honestly suck my... And this wasn't coming from a place of like, oh, I've never done it before either, right? Because one thing that you guys probably don't know is that some of my very first hikes were actually during the winter. I'm talking back when I was 15 years old. I had absolutely no business at all being out there. Like one time me and some friends hauled our huge plastic sleds up to the top of Mount Mansfield, literally being blown around in the wind like I had a fucking sail attached to my backpack. I think in like 2012 I hiked Camel's Hump with my friend Dan, which is a 4,000 foot mountain. You know, like it's a pretty big mountain for East Coast standards. It's above tree line and all this stuff, and we did it in the middle of February and I survived somehow. And then as I started to get into hiking more and I learned how to be a better hiker, a safer hiker, eventually I was just kind of like, screw winter hiking. I would just much rather do it during the summer. And here's why. So with hiking, there's like good parts and there's bad parts. And I slowly started to realize all of the bad stuff about hiking that I like really disliked all seemed to be happening when I was hiking in cold temperatures during the winter. And all that bad shit just like wasn't as big of a deal during the summer. It just didn't really affect me as much. Now that I've hiked over 4,000 miles, mostly during the summer, and I'm starting to do a little bit of stuff in the winter this year, a lot of the reasons why I thought winter hiking sucked so much was not because winter hiking sucked, but just because I sucked. I was like, again, 15 and was just making dumb choices. And for some reason, even as I got older and more experienced in hiking, I didn't have the foresight to realize that maybe it wasn't actually winter hiking that I hated. Maybe it was just the fact that I was making dumb, stupid decisions that made me hate it in the first place. I'm not coming to you right now as like a super experienced winter hiker yet, but I have done a little bit this year and I actually had quite a bit of fun with it. And because of that, I've done some more research. I've talked to some people and I'm starting to realize that one of the biggest freaking mistakes I was making that just made me not like winter hiking was the fact that I would always end up getting wet somehow, and then as a result I would end up being just way too fucking freezing. And for those of you that go hiking in the winter a lot, you're like, obviously, like, you gotta stay fucking dry. Like, of course you're stupid for this, but I just didn't really realize it at the time. Honestly, I just didn't realize how freaking important it was to keep yourself dry. So dry from not only the snow that's just everywhere around you, obviously, but also dry from your own sweat. Dude, I am so sweaty. I just sweat so goddamn much. I hate it. Like hiking through Virginia in the middle of July on my Appalachian Trail through hike was one of the most painful things that I've ever had to do in my life. I would happily give one of my testicles to not be so sweaty. And so when I was hiking during the winter, I would just leave like all my layers on, like my big freaking jacket, my winter hat. Like the concept of shedding layers to be less like hot and sweaty was just not a thing in my stupid ass head. So I would hike up the mountain, be absolutely drenched, and then we would take a little break on top, get some water, get some food, and I'd be sitting there for like 5 minutes, and then the next thing you know, I'd just be frozen. I would just be frozen solid, and I'd be like, F this shit. And it sucks because I can basically get down to like a base layer in a t-shirt and that's about it. It'd still be sweating, but at least I'm not like completely drenched like I was on some of those early hikes. And another huge mistake I made back then that led to me just being soaked all the time. Dude, I was just hiking in stupid gear. And again, I was like 15. I obviously didn't have like a lot of money. I wasn't really as responsible for myself back then. So I feel like I get a little bit less blame for this one. I guess I'll blame my parents, which it's not really their fault either. But I was hiking in just crap gear, especially my boots. My feet used to get freezing all of the time. And again, it wasn't like I was going to be able to afford the nicest, like warmest pair of boots on the market at the time. But looking back on it, I'm sure I was just hiking in whatever like cheap LL Bean, whatever boot my mom got me for Christmas was. I had no idea what gaiters were. Pretty sure I was wearing cotton pants. Just recipe for being soaked, recipe for freezing, recipe for being, oh God, it's so stupid. Like I'm pretty sure there were a couple times where when I got back to the car, I literally had to just sit there like rubbing my toes because they were like borderline frostbitten. And so after this, I started doing some hikes in the summer and I realized like, hey, all this really stuff doesn't happen to me when it's the summer. So therefore, winter hiking must suck and I should only do summer hiking. And it just kind of evolved from there. I just got stuck in that mindset. I just never really wanted to do it. And then what ended up happening is I would just go ham during the summer. I would just use the summertime as like my prime hiking season. I would just crank out as many miles as I could every single weekend, whenever I possibly could drag myself to a trailhead. So then by the time fall ended and it was cold out, I was like, I need a break. Like, I'm tired of been ripping miles all summer. Like, I just need to chill for a minute. And what more of a perfect time to do that than when it's cold outside and the hiking conditions are conditions that I know I suck at. And that was my mindset for pretty much like the past 5 years. That's why I really never ventured out during the winter. And then I also discovered skiing as well. So due to all those things, I just swore off winter hiking forever until this year. And so that kind of begs the question, why am I getting back into it now? Like, what changed? Well, I've kind of talked about how I've smartened up in terms of like my gear. I've gotten some better gear thanks to sponsors. I've smartened up in terms of my layering, so I won't sweat as much. Hopefully I won't get as soaked. And I think a big part of it is just the fact that, guess what? I have a freaking YouTube channel now. I need to make videos that people want to watch. And not only do I need to do that, but I actually have fun with it. It's actually really, really fucking fun. And so I could just like stay in my basement all winter and just pump out like the top 5 backpacks that stupid people use or whatever. And I'll probably do some more videos like that, but that's not like all I want to do for the entire winter. I still want to be out on trail. So that's where I'm at. I don't think you'll see me camping on top of Mount Washington in the middle of February anytime soon. Hell, I don't even think you'll see me hiking Mount Washington in the middle of February, but you can certainly expect me to keep developing my winter hiking skills. I'm going to try to keep pushing myself on the mountains that we have here in Vermont, which aren't exactly easy, but they're not quite at like the Mount Washington level either. I'm still going to ski. I'm still going to rest up a little bit after hiking over 400 miles just this year alone, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to get out in the winter and I'm going to freeze my ass off. And I'm only doing it for the views, is essentially what I'm trying to say here. I could have just skipped the whole video and basically said that, yeah, I'm just doing this for the views because winter hiking videos are popular right now and I am a slut for the algorithm. So obviously this is a bit of a weird style for my videos, a bit different. I've been trying to experiment more lately, and if you liked this, if you like any of my other videos too, if you usually watch these things all the way to the end, then you're the person I'm trying to basically sell to right now. Please check out my Patreon if you want to help support my channel. I know you don't have to, like, it's fine if you don't, but if you want to go above and beyond, if you want to have like a direct channel to access me and talk and ask questions, please go to patreon.com/KyleHatesHiking. If you just want to buy me a beer every month, that's essentially what it is. So yeah, patreon.com/KyleHatesHiking. Thank you so much to the people who have already joined on there. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for watching.